So what can you say best practices for apartment investors to make sure that they get funded for their projects? I'm sure you've done that over the years, that, okay, you've come out to maybe 10 steps, 12 steps of working with investors that, okay, this is the best way you guys can come up with. Yeah.
So I think the important thing is if it's not going to be your capital as the equity injection into the project, is you need to, create a credibility package. You have to be marketing for investors always, maybe not deal specific because you don't have a syndication yet and you can't be, right. You got to follow syndication rules. But you're building a base of investors and joint venture partners, and then you're developing your underwriting skills yourself. So you learn from a mentor, and whether that's online or in person, you constantly educate yourself on how to underwrite these deals and get good on some kind of spreadsheet analyze deal tool.
Okay.
So now you have an investor base. You're really good at underwriting deals, where you have the right partners that are good at doing this. It doesn't have to be you. You could be good at delegating and get the right people. And then you have, your information on point. You have a really detailed financial statement. You have a bio or resume about yourself. Hey, here's my experience. This is what I've done professionally. I've been in IT sales my whole life. I own, 300 unit buildings as a limited partner. I own, X as a general partner. Your personal financial statement on point, and then just getting the basics of the financials, and then being able to do a 5-year pro forma of when we acquire it, this is what it's going to look like when we lease it up and do our CapEx improvement, and having that ready to go and the financials on the property. That's it. It's not really rocket science. If you do that very well, and can orchestrate that, and then also maybe if it's understand the demographics of the market you're buying in, so you can provide information about that to the broker or banker working on the deal. If it's a smaller market, like why, hey, there's a lot of job growth here, and this is why we're buying here, and this is what our value add play is. But it's not. There's no secret to it, really, right? It's just assembling the team.
Okay.
And having it already. Where I think people lack is I'll get calls where somebody's like, hey, I want to try to buy this 200 unit apartment building. Do you own any real estate? No. I'm like, well, it's kind of hard to do. Can it be done? Yes, but you have to do this deal architecture stuff where I already have my, my partners and so forth. And that's why sometimes for me, I'm not going to be the operator. But where you could supercharge results is you could become you could do like a fund of a fund, or be a co-GP, a co-general partner. So it's like, also, how do I supercharge my results? So let's just say, let's say I join, I become friends with a very experienced syndicator by networking. He or she knows that I already have a list of investors that I could probably bring into deals. I then become a fund of a fund, or a co-GP in the deal, legally in the LLC and all this stuff that you have to do legally to raise capital. So you do that all the right way. Mm-hmm. And so I go from not owning any multifamily to now I'm a co-GP, a co-general partner in a 300 unit building, right? Okay. So I just built my credibility. So there's different ways of navigating, right? Like that's what I call a supercharged way of me becoming a GP on a 300 unit property with no experience. And it can be done like that. And then keep doing that, replicate, right? So there's people that all they do is raise money and they're not the actual operators of the other way of doing it is bootstrapping it. I go and buy my first, let's just say I have a ton of duplexes and fourplex, but no commercial. Okay, I go, okay, well, I need to do commercial deals. So I need to do 5 units plus. I go out and find an 8 unit building. I get bridge financing and I refi it with a bank when I stabilize it. And then I buy a 15 unit building. I call that the stacking stone method, right? It's going to take longer, but you don't have to worry about raising money. You're doing it yourself, stacking. So it just depends on where you want to go. You can do any of these, if you think big, you can go out and become a GP in a 500 unit deal, and that was your first deal. So it really depends on how big you think, right? And that's the only thing that's going to hold you back in this business, because there's plenty of educators out there. There's plenty of multifamily training and knowledge base, but then it just really comes down to taking action.